Go ahead.
You didn't hit yours.
Okay.
This is the bloopers, y'all.
I jumped off the cliff
bloopers.
and waiting for you to jump too. All right, there you go. You jump first.
Hey, what day is tonight? Friday night? Nobody doing it tonight anyway. So we
Jumping
live.
off the cliff.
Take it away, Queen B.
What's good? What's good? What's good, crew? It's your girl, Queen B.
Dr. P.
And,
King Aries.
and we are UnSweet Tea.
Tea.
So on tonight's episode, we figured we would get a little bit more in tune with some real life issues that I think a lot of us struggle from and that we're kind of scared or frightened to discuss because we're worried about being judged, or I think in just our culture, it's not accepted to be spoken about.
I'm judging y'all.
So we're gonna discuss depression and a little bit of mental illness, on tonight's episode.
I like to call it mental wellness issues.
Okay, mental wellness
but
issues.
But that works too.
Per Dr. P.
So personal experiences with it, y'all.
You're first. You're light skin. Go ahead.
Why do I go first?
Hey, man. Dark skinned dudes gotta go too.
She light skin. Let it go.
I've had many personal experiences with depression. Mainly postpartum depression. That's probably like one of the biggest things I've ever experienced in my years of life, or being a mother, I should say. As you guys all know, I have 3 beautiful babies. But during my pregnancy, and I even think after my pregnancy, with my first pregnancy, just because it was my first time becoming a mother, I struggled the most with postpartum depression with that pregnancy. I think the second one still had some too, but by the third one, I think I was okay. I kind of got it down packed. I wasn't too worried about how things were going to turn out as a mother, how I was going to turn out, And then weight, it used to change in your body. So I struggled with just that self-conscious behavior and depression of not being skinny how I used to be prior to having kids. And I would think like stress from just like financial issues too. That's also a factor in me being depressed in my personal life as well. I don't know about you.
Yeah. And I'm just gonna touch on it on the surface, and we can go in depth at later. But yeah, for me, actually, I've been through depression. I guess I had been all around the place. I had been escaping a lot of like childhood emotions, suppressing them, if you will, like in the subconscious. Like you don't even know you're doing it. It's a lot of unaddressed issues. And then I fell through depression, like a suicidal depression, for about like 5 months, and then I came out of it. But we're gonna go more in depth when we talk about functional versus non-functional depression. King Aries, you got anything to add?
Depression doesn't have a look. Depression sometimes doesn't have a smell. Doesn't have sometimes you can't cite it. People
got a taste?
Does it have a taste? I mean, I dated this girl who didn't know how to cook, so I guess that was she didn't see. She was Puerto Rican, didn't see anything. That was bad. I don't know. Speaking of Black Jeopardy, anyways. No, it doesn't have a look. It doesn't have a taste. Doesn't have a sense. Sometimes people suffer in silence. Some people, sometimes the most confident person that you see, or the most prettiest person or outgoing person you see, they suffer in silence. Mm-hmm. And you never know what they have. They have their hang-ups. Sometimes they pop off at things, and they don't even know themselves. You know what I mean? You pop off, you get mad at certain things. You don't understand that you're going through something, or you do the things you do based off of past experiences. I spoke about it earlier this week with people, victims of sexual abuse, women. They pop off and they act a certain way, but they don't even realize it themselves. Just, I don't know. Would you want to expand on that? You're a woman. You're light skinned. Go ahead.
I even think sometime in my life I dealt with depression of not being considered Black enough. That was something that bothered me a lot growing up. A lot of my peers in like different places that I've lived, they always told me like, oh, you're not Black enough to speak on Black issues. You know what I'm saying? You're just, you're light skinned or you're bright skinned. So you don't
red
really,
bone.
Yeah, or I'm a red bone. So like, I don't know what it's like to, feel like any type of racism or prejudice, and I'm like, you guys are being prejudiced to me right now. My own people are being prejudiced to me.
Ooh.
So what are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? I've been in stores where I've been followed, you know what I'm saying, because they think that I'm going to steal something and I'm not, you know what I'm saying? So I had issues with that. I even had issues with just, I guess, me as a person too, you know what I'm saying? Like, am I good enough for the world, or, you know, is there something I need to change? Because I was so outgoing and people didn't appreciate that. So, you know, it would bother me that people had so much negative things to say about me. I used to care what people thought about me, but now I don't, you know what I'm saying? And that caused a lot of depression as well, like especially in like high school and middle school, and nobody would know, because there's a thing where sometimes you're depressed and you don't even know that you're depressed, or you're depressed and other people don't know, like you don't show it, you hide it, you know, you keep it internal. So you know, I think there's things that we all deal with.
So what I'm getting from you is that you got your sense of self-worth or your confidence that went up, and you said, fuck what everybody else gotta say.
Right.
There's two types of depression. I looked this up after I recovered. You have functional depression, and you have non-functional depression, right? Functional depression means like you still operating, meaning you going to work, you going to school, you showing your face to people, but on the inside you do not feel well, right? You don't feel good, like you just feel empty. You have non-functional depression, which is the opposite of that, where like you barely operating, you just staying at home, you in your bed, you eating popcorn, you watching Netflix, probably gaining 20 pounds, and so hey, you laughing, bro, but that was me. I was like 20 pounds lighter. I'm gonna get back though. I'm gonna get back. And we're gonna get back. We're gonna get back. So that's the difference. And you know, a lot of people are going, you know, through functional depression, and non-functional depression. What's the next step after depression, right? I mean, what could come from that? What y'all think?
Depression. I mean,
I think drug and alcohol abuse, probably.
Drug and substance abuse. Substance abuse sometimes. Filling the void, like we were talking about earlier.
Mm-hmm.
You know, increased sexual activity. You know, you out here smashing anything. No, well, not anything, but you know, this is discriminate. You know, thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, doing things that are you've become so normal with. Like, there's people I've come into and they drink so much, and I say, yo, how do you drink that much? It's like they do something so much that it's not even, they don't even feel it no more. They don't even, it's such a regular activity. They get high, they drink every weekend, they binge drink, and it's normal to them because they don't want to deal with stuff. They don't want to deal with a divorce. They don't want to deal with past sexual abuse. They don't want to deal with being bullied in high school. They don't want to deal with stuff, so they cover it up with the substance. To remove yourself from feeling means that you make yourself numb.
Yeah.
Alcohol is known for making people feel numb.
Yeah.
Weed makes you numb. It makes you hungry too. You know what I mean? Some people use food. Alcohol is poison, especially when you're depressed. Oh yeah.
Me.
I like to eat. You know what I mean? I don't got a 6-pack under there. I don't. I like to eat, but sometimes when I'm depressed or I feel down on myself, I eat more than I normally would. I mean, let me pass. What do you think?
Yeah, you mentioned a lot of things. Molly is one of them. I just said like it's a hot. You mentioned a bunch of downers, so I had to like
the ones that bring you
upper,
up.
Oh, you're right,
so right. The stimulus.
You know what I'm saying? The stimulus and the depressants.
Right. Dad bod.
But what I'm hearing is like a lot of increased participation in high risk activities.
What about like physical abuse to yourself? You know, harming yourself,
True.
Cutting.
That's what exactly.
You know, starving yourself. You know, or making yourself. You know, starving yourself, vomiting.
Suicide.
Suicide is number one. I would think.
I think when you're getting fucked up, you're getting binge drinking. I think that it's like you're fucking yourself up, but it feels good, so it almost feels like you're not, like cocaine, meth. You know you're fucking yourself up. You know you're not gonna get them brain stems back with meth, but it feels so good and euphoric, and it takes you away from.
Yeah.
Would you say that like, you know, mental illness and depression in our community is swept under the rug a little bit more, and that's probably why we have like higher cases of where these issues are not what's the word I'm looking for?
Addressed.
They're not addressed. There we go.
That's a great question, Queen B. Hell yeah. What you think?
I mean, they're not. We all Caribbean, all three of us. We're Caribbean, so a lot of time, and we're black, so that's a double whammy. Mm-hmm. A lot of times there's no such thing as no counselor. You're saying patois, when I
No, you don't need no counselor, you don't need no
we don't need-
psychologist,
Yeah.
doctor.
you don't need nothing like that. So
They said, what they say? Get on your knees and pray.
pray, or drink ginger ale, or drink some
tea or something.
drink some chamomile tea or some like chill out. You just being sensitive, and that's what P was talking about the other day. We talked so much about this masculinity and this insensitivity that the community, not even just the black community, just different all races. That's so who calling?
Sean, baby.
Not in California. No, but calling. God, lost my train of thought. No, just a lot of times when masculinity and sensitivity. A lot of times, especially I grew up in a Jamaican household, and just if you showed feelings or you were just down on your luck, or you just were just passionate about something, you were brought down. You were like, yo, why you acting like a bitch? Or why you acting like a pussy? Like a gal. You're going like like that type of thing. So you may be depressed, but your parents are not even there to, real man cry. Help you support it. So I mean, what do you were in the Jamaican household too? What do you think?
Even though I was brought up in a Caribbean household, my mom came to America when she was younger, so she was able to kind of mold into the society of America. So my mom was a little bit more accepting to certain situations. Now, other people in my family, no. So she kind of understood. Because she came here young, you know what I'm saying? So she adapted. She understood that these things existed, and she did her research on things like this. You know what I'm saying? She was exposed to a whole different lifestyle when she came to America. So she had to kind of like grow here, basically. But there's certain things that I didn't feel comfortable talking to my mother about because I just felt like she wasn't going to understand because she still had that mentality of a Caribbean mother, So I had to kind of like ease off on telling her certain things. I would feel more comfortable speaking to outsiders, like teachers, counselors, my friends' mothers, or my friends. And sometimes that bit me in my ass because those same people would spread my business. So it's like you didn't know. It's like you thought you had somebody to trust, but then you didn't have anybody to trust because they were telling your business. So that was another whole thing that kind of like when your reputation is on the verge of being ruined. That's another depression because you're like, damn, like I trusted you with everything and you broke my trust. You know what I'm saying?
Especially as a woman.
Exactly.
Your reputation is...
I'm already being judged out here as a woman. You're just making it worse now because you're going to go out here and talk about me. You know what I'm saying?
So unthoughtful.
But people see you as a threat regardless though. Like, you know what I mean? We all went to school. We all went to high school with that light-skinned girl who was maybe halfway more prettier than everybody else. You know what I mean? And we kind of look at her and we try to look for what's wrong with her to kind of like, perceived value is what the most powerful thing in this world is. Perceived value. So if you can, I'm
just trying to help you break that down. You're saying and trying to say what's wrong about her, we're really putting a mirror on us, evaluating her based on ourselves. Is that what you mean?
Well,
like,
in a way,
not you in particular, but like the light skin, dark skin.
Right. I don't know why my feed froze.
But I mean, to me, that was always dumb because, like I said, Jamaica, we have like all different races and ethnicities there. So I never looked at color as a problem. Like light skin, Chinese or Indian or dark skin, to me we were never less or more than each other. We all came from the same country. We all came from the same island. We all have the same struggles. So it's like that never bothered me. So when I, growing up in America where that's so prominent, where everybody's so judgmental towards another race was like, it was a bother to me because I didn't grow up like that. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like we were not brought up to judge each other based on skin color. You know, we were taught that it's the inner person that you go off of and that's how you build relationships with people. So that's what I struggle with here. And I'm also from the North. The North and the South are very different. You know what I'm saying? To me, a lot of people say that Northerners are rude, but I feel like Northerners are not as rude. Especially in New York, that's a melting pot. You have all different races and ethnicities there as well. So everybody knows everybody. Everybody kind of clicks up with everybody. You don't really have like a separate clique. Everybody's kind of clicked up together. We all blend and mesh with each other. Everybody enjoyed each other's music and food. So, coming to the South where now that's where it's more prominent here, where dark skin versus light skin. You know what I'm saying? So that's where a lot of problems come into play because the South is so. This is where slavery began. So to the darker skinned folks, I think they feel some type of way because the colors were treated a little bit differently than the darker skinned folks. So I think that's kind of where it stems from.
Yeah.
In a way, you know what I'm saying? So that's for me. So I don't know like why they were so judgmental towards me, why they wanted to ruin my life, and why they hated me so much. I never really understood it because I'm like, I'm such a nice person. Like, why are you guys doing this to me?
I was gonna say, I think it goes back to like, you were saying, like in New York, you don't kind of judge a book by its cover. Like you learn not to do that, right? Here, I feel like if we see somebody has something that we don't have, whatever that may be, we just kind of want to pull them down, right? You know what I mean? Instead of just saying, oh, okay, they're different. Queen Bee's unique and special for this. King Aries is unique and special for whatever reason. Dr. P, I'm special for my own reason. We can't appreciate everybody's like individuality. I'm gonna add to this too, though. Going backwards, reversing a little bit. What King Aries has said about bring it back, to people not being able to express themselves, their emotions. You just take all that in, and that's not healthy, right? Like we should be, allowed to talk things out. Personally, like when I was going through my depression and I was seeing psychologists or whatever, all we did was just talk, right? And so it's like you have these thoughts going through your head that you perceive to be reality, but you got blind spots, right? So it's not the entire picture, and you just think, oh, I'm a bad person, or this, that, I suck, or whatever. And the counselor, whatever it may be, helps you to like work through those thoughts, to be like, actually, there's a lot of lies in that, but I just kind of came to tell myself this story that's not actually true about myself.
Right.
And you can spin your story to make it a positive one, you know what I mean?
And like what Jesus was saying, talking about it is a big thing.
Yeah.
And if you need to get something off your chest, especially, I think it's the reverse. I think you're talking about masculinity in a sense that a man doesn't show his feelings, a woman doesn't show her feelings. Nobody,
Into touching that, I think like because a lot of women feel like a man is weak if they show their emotions or if they express themselves. They're like, oh, you a punk, you know what I'm saying? What you crying for? What
you talk too
much.
Yeah,
like what? I think that's stupid though. Like and I feel like you guys don't ever want to show emotion, or you keep everything bottled up inside because so many women or society has made it seem like it's not okay for you to express yourself, that it makes you less of a man or weaker if you express yourself. And I think that's absolute bullshit. Like I would want for my man to express how he's feeling. If I made you feel some type of way or something is bothering you, you know what I'm saying? You feel like that you need to let that pressure off or let that steam off. Let it off. Like, I don't want you to go out there and do nothing crazy. I don't want you to be smoking or, you know what I'm saying, or drinking your sorrows away. No, we need to have you need to have that one
or
person.
Or finding another girl.
Well, no. But you made a very, very good point. Like, yes, they're going to find somebody else to go talk to their problems about if you don't want to hear it or you don't want to deal with it. That's just the truth. That's the truth of it.
They come to me, man.
And it's interesting that you say that women, typically speaking, always want to talk about their problems, right? But the moment a man says, oh, I'm going through this, a lot of women, not all, then be like, oh, I don't want to talk about that, or like kind of tune out, or like go in the other direction, like, you know what I mean? Like, so men kind of just learn to absorb that, and a woman's like, oh, I want you to be more gentle, more loving to me. Well, he can't, because he's excuse my mouth, just built a lot of anger up and is like stiff. Doesn't even actually like know how to if he wanted to.
And I think that's what the problem is. Like, there's a lot of really good men out there, and they don't really know how to love, because when they were trying to love, another woman badgered them or brought them down. And so now they have this wall up, against the world or against every woman, and they're just like, they're so hardcore, and they don't have any emotion. They're just so cold, you know what I'm saying? And it just cold. They just become really cold to women, and it's like, well, damn, you know what I'm saying? This other woman broke you, but let me help fix you a little bit. Let me mold you, you know what I'm saying? And I think some men are like really scared to do that. They don't want to let their guard down, because when they tried to let their guard down, they were judged,
Yeah. There are women too who are in that same position, you know what I mean? Like, as soon as you try to go talk to her, she like mad defensive. What you want? Like, yo, I ain't giving you my number. It's like, chill. Like, I'm just trying to have a conversation with you one-on-one. Hi, what's your name? Where you work at? You feel me? Like, what's your favorite color? But
like Terang was saying, it depends on the caliber of woman you're dealing with. Mature women know it takes strength for a man to show his vulnerability,
Mm-hmm.
and that's when our turn to step in and shoulder the weight. Mm,
Sure.
that's true. I think everything is about machismo. Everybody want to be macho. Everybody want to be strong. Everybody want to seem confident. They want to be James Bond, Razor Ramon, and they want to be Denzel Washington, all rips mixed into one. And everybody can't be that.
Yeah.
Everybody's human. Like I was expanding on, what makes that depression worse is when we have a illustration of something that we're not right in front of them, and that could be in the form of people. You know what I mean? If there's a prettier girl, you're gonna feel even uglier, which is why we have people in your high school used to hate on you so much. If there's an illustration of something that you're not, well, I'm not happy, well, I'm not outgoing, well, I'm not as pretty. Now we like to internalize that, and then we externalize that and put it on a person and say to ourselves, man, Karen with her bland ass potato salad, she's so happy and she's so outgoing and she has all these friends. Why can't I be like her? So we externalize that, and it makes it even worse because now we've added a variable to it. Like, what do you guys think about that?
I agree. I will say this, like, I can be a corny person, I know that, but like, I own it. That's like who I am. And I had this situation, Las Solas, where I saw this girl, so I said something corny, right? But like in my confident self, she's like, "Who says that?" I'm like, "Me," because it's who I am. And so they're kind of what you're saying, everybody trying to fit in, where it's like, then where you're definitely comparing yourself to each other, where it's like kind of like you were saying in New York, everyone and other places too, people have their own different styles. You feel me? So it's not like, and jump in if like y'all wanna see something different. So it's not like everyone's different, right? Everyone brings their own style. Like B has on her, like, what you got on today?
Some ripped jeans.
Some ripped jeans, some gray ripped jeans, a tank top. She just like whatever. You know what I'm saying? I got on my like little Fruity Pebbles hat. Not like that, but just saying from the colors. And then you know what I mean? Like everybody just kind of respect what everybody brings to the table. Sean got some technical difficulties. He's a popular guy.
Powerful.
But y'all got a good point, right? Like, why we don't get along though? We don't even say hi to each other and stuff in the community. Could that be related to like?
I heard some. I know this is really bad, but I heard this this Caucasian woman said that Black people walk around with an attitude because they're carrying on that weight from back in the day from slavery. So they're just they always have like a resting bitch face because they're just angry at the world. And she was like, it's not fair because everyone wasn't a part of that. You know what I'm saying? Just because she was like, if my ancestors were doing that, I'm not doing that. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I love you guys. I want to push you guys up to a higher standard, just like you want to push yourself to a higher standard. So why do you have to be so upset and angry with me? And, she made a very, very good point. And I'm like, as much as some people may even be like, she don't have any place to say that, she actually had a very good point. And I really sat down there and I was contemplating. I'm like, man, she makes a lot of sense. A lot of sense.
And it's like, if you've had a lot of negative past experiences and negative trauma, then like maybe you got beef with other people who've done things to you. That's understandable. But somebody new that you meet and you like projecting that onto them, it's something to think about, right? Like every new person that enters your life should be a clean slate,
right.
Maybe like we all have prejudices, but you kind of put them in the back of your head and see who the person actually is.
Man, yeah, that's true. I mean, but when you're carrying that weight and you're never talking about it, it's just a pot boiling over.
Yeah.
Really, your pot's boiling over. And then there's this thing called a coping mechanism that you
What's a coping mechanism?
Coping mechanism is literally understanding how to deal with your level of stress, whatever level you're stressed on, and how to make it normal to you in layman's terms. You know what I mean? But people have different coping mechanisms. Sometimes people just shoulder the weight. We all we all run around with a different level of depression. We all deal with it differently. We like to say that our lives are the worst lives that we're ever living, but the guy who got on the bus are went to work next to you probably got 10 times worse.
Mm-hmm.
True.
Therefore, you know, and there's a variable called perception. We don't know, you know, what they can handle, we can't handle, or vice versa. Who don't know? We've lived different journeys. I think we don't embrace individuality enough to where we say to ourselves, well, I'm unique, my situation is unique, and I will break out of this situation uniquely.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We look at another person and we say, man, why does that person have a Benz? Or why is that person doing better? And it makes us feel more depressed rather than the idea of you don't know what type of unseen advantage that person has. You don't know if that person bought that Benz. You don't.
You don't even know if that Benz belongs to the person, period.
You don't even know if it belongs to them. You don't know if they have a parent who helps them pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know if they even have a job. Like we say to ourselves, we like to push our standards onto other people in a way that we like to put ourselves down. You know what I mean? I see somebody driving a nice car. I have a healthy self-esteem. I said, man, that's good. He's doing good. I don't care about the circumstances like that, but they're doing good.
Color.
That's cool.
I always got it in blue.
That's
like,
good. That's good, man. He's doing good. I like that. I don't want the same car. I don't want to be like you because I can only be me. But it is what it is.
That's crazy because my mom and I were driving today. Just that you said that, and this there was this brother. He was driving a Porsche. It was like a brand new. He just had brand new tag was on it. My mom said, "Yes, go there, brother. You have a nice." I was like, "You are so funny."
Like, hey, she
was hyping him up.
Yeah.
She was like, "My love, sit down, my love, sit down." I'm like, "Oh my god!"
Especially a black man. You black, right?
Dramatic.
Absolutely.
Hey,
Absolutely.
It was like a 2018 Porsche. It was really nice, and he was just dressed so clean. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So she was just so. It was so proud. She was so proud. She was like, "I cannot believe this." You know. She said, "Wonder what I do? What kind of job am I look? You know, I'm like, I was like, does he? You want to know? Does he have a dad or something? Because
she trying to get
like, what's going on
here? And also too, like not like on other cases too. Sometimes buying luxury stuff is masking the depression, right?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Just not saying that. Like, and sometimes it's like, yo, you worked hard for it, whatever. You celebrating yourself. You go and treat yourself with that, Benz. Like, why not? But other times, like, we're masking like, things underneath to show people, an image. Sometimes too, there's other things too. You could be a workaholic, right? You could be a workaholic.
Distraction.
Pretty much anything that's a no. You got kids to feed.
I know, but I sometimes take on extra shifts just because I don't want to deal with whatever is going on at the moment in time. You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
So. And like he said, some people like to eat and drink. I like to eat. Like, if I'm feeling depressed, I eat. I'll stuff my face. I won't care.
Cocoa bread.
I usually eat very fattening stuff that I'm not supposed to eat, like fried chicken and stuff. Just things that are not good for you, but it just tastes so good at the moment in time. You're just like, I'm gonna eat it. It's gonna make me feel better.
I'm an emotional eater too.
I'm gonna, eat chocolate cake or something. Like, I'm gonna.
That's probably why we all it's kind of similar. But yeah,
he takes extra shifts to help his coworkers. Is that a distraction? Because I know he has a healthy self-esteem.
But
cool. Yeah.
Do they? I was just gonna say, make sure. I'm a very caring and giving person, and I had learned growing up that my self-worth was based on helping others, right? So I got to this point where, like, when I needed help, they didn't help me because I felt good about helping them, right? Mm-hmm. And so that's kind of where I got my worth from. So helping somebody isn't bad, but if you're, as I see it, if you're like always looking to help people, it could be addressing like some inner, like that's where you get your confidence, right? Oh, thank you, because they're rewarding you as well, which is, at the end of the day, it's not bad, but if you overdoing it, it's setting a check.
But some people take your kindness for weakness.
Sure.
And I think a lot of people prey on people. They feel like because someone is so nice that they're weak. But it doesn't necessarily mean that someone's weak. Yeah. Because someone's nice, that means they're weak. They could just really have a very good heart. And
generous.
They're just a good person. And just, that's just who they are. But don't you think, like, we're going back to, like, people who do things because they're going through something. So that's like bullying. I feel like a lot of bullies, they have problems deep down, and they use that big macho persona to act like there's nothing wrong with them or, to hide what's really going on with them. It's a masking, a masking mechanism that they're using to hide what's really going on. Or maybe sometimes people that are really silent. They're introverts. They keep it. Those people, they're not saying anything because there's so much going on. You know what I'm saying? They'd rather just not talk about it. And then you have the people that smile every day that are also masking what's going on. I think that's just normal.
Yeah.
People they do different things to hide what's really going on inside. So that means each and every one of us that, like you, or anybody you walking, by or, coming in contact with, always just have a thought that maybe that person is not having a good day. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And just being nice, sometimes just smiling at someone could cheer them up. Someone that you see that just, they have a frown on their face,
Saying
and you
hello.
just say hello and you smile. Maybe that might make them feel better. You know,
Slight compliment,
and
right?
Not an excuse to be a shitty person. I agree.
Yeah, slight compliment. Like, you don't gotta always holler. Just, I pass by like mad girls, but yo, I like that dress. I'm like, I don't need another number in my phone, but I just want her to know I like that dress. I see a homeboy with nice kicks. Yo, them shoes fly. You know what I mean? Where'd you get them at?
What does he want?
You know,
is he selling something? That's what they probably.
I'm selling you like love.
Not this community, South Florida, man. It's crazy. You hold the door for a girl, they're going through their own little form of depression, so they already have a belief system of what the rules of engagement are. If a guy's nice to me, he wants something. He want to get my number. He want to sleep with me, whatever. And that could stem from depression, from being abused from someone 10 years ago, and they have never dealt with it, and they've let that one event rewrite their perception on men forever.
Yeah.
They don't deal with it, so they just let it. All right, that's just what it is, and that's how men are. If a guy's nice to me, he's wants something.
Yeah.
If a guy shares his feelings, he's weak. You know what I mean? So.
Nah, I agree. I was gonna say something B mentioned. Oh yeah, fun fact, right? You mentioned introverts and extroverts. Like, being aware, and it's a lot deeper than that, but like, that's a simple level of looking at it. Introverts tend to get their energy from like just being by themselves. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how they. You know what I'm saying? No, they can be social, but to recharge, and some people don't know how to like pace their energy levels, right? To recharge, they gotta kind of go in, just like, all right, take a minute. Extroverts tend to get their energy from in the social, right? So an extrovert can get overstimulated by being around a lot of people because they're getting a lot of energy. An introvert can get overstimulated because like they're by themselves and they need to go out to release it. But when you over release it, that's when you can start feeling like moody. You know what I mean? If you're not aware of your energy levels and you just kind of going through life.
So how do you mask your depression?
How do I mask my depression? That's a great thing. You asked. I'm an escapist. What that means is anything negative that's happening, you just avoid it. You laugh or whatever, or like, actually, the way I cope with it now, meaning I'm aware of it, is comedy, laughter. You know what I mean?
I think we just had someone said that. He said, my mask is joking or clowning when I'm stressed or depressed.
Yeah. But I used to be an escapist, meaning like, oh man, I'm gonna go out and party, right? I'm gonna go out and drink. Like, I'm gonna just go out and be live and like. So then my work wasn't up to par because then I'd get up late and I'd show up, whatever, I'd do it. But then I started to be like, yo, if you went out a little bit less, your work, instead of being at the 60% level, could be at like 80. Hey, everybody popular tonight except for me. Friday night. I don't got a life, I guess.
Sean, how do you mask your depression?
You know what? And I may be one of those people who doesn't understand the intricacy of how I do it. Maybe, me naturally. Naturally, I'm introverted. Naturally, so maybe I mask it by being extroverted. I can talk naturally. I can have a conversation with anybody. Once upon a time, I wouldn't be able to look at people in the face because I just felt so torn down as a child.
Yeah,
I felt torn down. I felt like I was the most terrible person in the world, the ugliest person in the world. I felt like I was trash when I was growing up, even up until my 20s. I couldn't look up at people, but then as time went on, as I got older, like 21, 22, I realized that I have a personality that is worth people seeing. So a lot of times, at first, I would mask my depression by being uncharacteristically extroverted. I'd be extra with it. I'd do certain things. I would do things I normally wouldn't do to kind of mask it, to kind of make people feel like, hey, you know what, I'm a person to be around, I'm the person to hang out with, I'm the person to do this, I'm the person that, I'm not this, what's that called, off of Family Guy? The Buzz Killington. I don't like to be the buzzkill at all. Mm-hmm. I don't like to be the person who comes off as a person who, so in a way, my escape really just now as a 31-year-old man, I just go home. I go to sleep. I eat my junk food. I don't bother anybody. I don't talk to anybody.
I thought she was a vegan, bro.
Huh? Junk food? Junk food could be, you know what I mean? You can have vegan. You can make your vegan burger, your little beet burger, whatever that bleeds. But your little chips or whatever, you can do that. It just eats. I escape by just retreating to myself. And people who don't know me as well, they think it's dangerous because it almost makes them feel like as if I'm hurting myself or um, you know what I mean? I feel like I always give so much energy all the time that people expect it all the time. So when they're like, yo, I haven't seen you post, or I haven't seen you call me, or I haven't seen you do this, what's going on? I'm like, yo, I can't be the clown. I can't be the outgoing guy all the time. I get depressed sometimes. Leave me alone sometimes. Let me chill, you know? So that's my escape. What about you?
Because, I'm bubbly and I'm outgoing. So I become very antisocial. I disappear.
Make it be Patty.
Yeah, I disappear. I get very quiet. I don't call people. I don't text people. I don't go on social media. Yeah, I pretty much disappear and I kind of hide in my shell. And I listen to music. Music
right.
Music heals everything for me.
Which album has gotten you out of the worst situations? Both of you. You first, Alexia. Go ahead.
Man.
What album got you out of the roughest depressive times? Which album? Whoever want to go first.
I can't say an album, to be honest.
Yeah. Which song?
Janet Jackson is my girl. And I don't know, there's a lot of songs that she sings that kind of just gets me out of the loop. I listen to a lot of that type of music.
I need to listen to the last.
Jagged Edge too. For some reason, Jagged Edge can just turn my whole day around. Like I fuck with Jagged Edge. You feel me?
What Jagged New Age Jagged Edge?
No, old
they
age.
Still,
with the jerseys
still out there though.
With the jerseys and the hats. Yeah. That's
I didn't even know
2000 Jagged Edge.
Yes, 1990s to 1990s eras to 2000. Yeah, that album was lit.
She came like this. What album, bro? What gets you out of? Yeah. We're talking about what we do to mask.
Yeah.
What we do to get out. What's something that people need to, instead of alcohol and kind of disruptive, problematic behavior, what type of things what helped you get out of it, really?
Dang, all eyes on me.
On you and that.
But yeah. Oh, shots fired.
you did it first, bro.
I appreciate it. I was gonna say, for me, it's not. I guess I listen to a lot of music, but I like to watch comedy. So I probably watch different comedy. Like I said, laughter, kind of, that kind of gets me out of it. I'm a socialite, so finding people who I vibe with, like naturally, and don't have to actually force it. That also helps. I'd also say something too. Like we have this idea that we're grown adults, we can't be silly. Like, I try to stay young, and by doing that, I used to roller skate a lot when I was younger, so something I try to do is, every once in a while, we're busy, I'll go roller skating with friends, because it just kind of brings back old memories, good times, you know what I mean? Like, you can keep it young every once in a while,
Right. What gets me out of it really is, I like to, those memes where it has, in terms of a breakup, like stereotypically, the woman... The guy is usually out partying and stuff.
You eat ice cream?
Hey, guess what? Let me break that down for you, Dick. No, but what the guy's usually already out partying. His friends, he got the hose on deck. He's masking. What he's trying to, distract himself. And the woman's at home crying, watching Netflix and talking to her friends, the support system. And then time goes by, and he's now...
The roles are reversed?
Well, the roles are reversed now because she actually dealt with it.
Ooh, I never thought about it.
She dealt with it. She stayed at home. She removed distractions. She talked to her friends. She made sense of the situation. While the guy, stereotypically, went out and distracted himself with hoes and all this stuff. Now these hoes ain't for him. Now the alcohol starts to get old. Now the partying got old. The problem's still there waiting for him at home. In his mind, I feel like I'm that female, stereotypically. I sit at home, I deal with it, and then I'm better. I always just know that I'm better off dealing with it. I make sense of it. I'm a psychology buff. I like to make sense of things before I reinsert myself into society, into my friends, my circles. I like to make sense of something first. So when I go out, now that I'm out, you already know I'm good. I'm not just out here partying a mask. You're all right. Nah, he's good. That's why he's out here. People who truly know me know that.
So you like to hit the problem head on.
Head on first.
Yeah.
If it means staying at home for 2 weeks, a month, deal with it, make sense of it first. And then, you know what I mean? Because most time people don't deal with stuff. They get a broken arm and they just wrap it up and don't do nothing about
put
it. Like
a Band-Aid on it.
they don't do nothing. They just kind of say, all right, well, it is what it is, and it just festers. It gets worse. Now you got an infection. Now we got to chop your arm off now. All because you didn't want to deal with it, and it gets worse. Now you took meth for 10 years. You're not getting those brain stems back. You're not rehabilitating. Your liver is, you got cirrhosis now. Now you got it's, you know what I mean? All those things get worse over time. I mean, what do you think? What do y'all think?
I was gonna say, yeah, you said first, what were you just, B, go ahead. Lost my.
Well, you guys said what you guys like to do to to kind of like get out of your funks or whatever. I like to write.
Oh, yeah.
Write music?
I don't write music. I just write my issues. Like I just pour my emotions out from my pen and paper. Like I write it down. I pray. I talk to God. Like he just like how me and you guys are talking. Like I'll sit in the room and people probably think I'm crazy. Or I'll be in my car and I'll just be talking to him. You know what I'm saying? Like yo, you know what I'm saying? Like why? What's this? How can I go about it? Can you send me a sign for me to change it? How can I do things different so I don't end up back in the same situation? Yeah. Things like that. I listen to music. I love to cook, so I'll cook. I'll cook like big meals for just like 3 people. It'd be like a food that could fit like 20 people, but like that's what I do. You know what I'm saying? I
never get none of that food though.
There's
I never got none of that food.
I haven't been depressed lately, so it's not a lot.
So do I hope she gets depressed?
No, she
you guys, remember the brunch, so you guys will get all of that food.
Absolutely. Jesus says, in response to my comment, women, the roles are reversed nowadays. Now women are doing what guys do. They call the backup dude. Mm-hmm. Now they're distracting themselves. They got the backup dude, and then I've experienced that many times. I already know you with the backup dude. Day 2, day 3, that weekend.
That is
They're distracting themselves. They're going out. And then the roles reverse. Now they texting you, hey, what's going on? I'm like, yo, I'm not even thinking about you.
Yeah.
This girl text me today. I haven't talked to her how long? Talking about something. Hey, what's going? She tried to make up a stupid reason to talk to me. I'm like, yo, you're grown. You had your backup dudes. You found out they not on my level at all.
Ooh.
They didn't have
the word.
First off, they didn't have the mind. They didn't have the girth. And they didn't have the swag I did. You dealt with that. It ran out. It was like fruit stripe gum, the lemon version, when it runs out of flavor chewing it for 3 seconds. And then they come back and I'm like, your depression has nothing to do with me and not talking to me. It has to do with the fact that your self-worth is so compromised that you just distract yourself. You don't want to deal with shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You get a backup dude or you get whatever. I mean, what do you think, P? What do you think?
No, I agree. I agree. I think, as you said, like, at least down here in Broward, a lot of women have taken on like the stereotypical black male role, where like they now have like the side dudes, and I'm like,
I'll be black only.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotta be black.
Yeah, just say women as a whole.
From my experience, I said from my experiences. Though.
But I don't think that's. I just don't think you haven't met any savage other race women. Then I guess.
Yeah, I mean,
savage out here.
I guess the ones.
I mean, you ain't seen cheetahs? Are you crazy?
Oh
man, they be getting loose out there. Them women be get caught up in all kind of stuff. So it's not just a black thing.
No. Here's the point I was gonna get at. Right. I feel like, and I think as well, that like a white woman might try that, but like a white man won't stand up for it. Whereas like I feel like now a lot of black men in here in Broward, I see who they will be like, oh, I'll be your side nigga, right? They will just, because that's what I'm noticing in my experiences. I even see a lot of memes on this saying like, oh, get you a side nigga because they treat you the best or whatever, Dudes are allowing themselves to be side niggas because they themselves, I think, have some void or emptiness, and they just like, whatever, at least I'm getting some,
Well, it's with the illusion that they're winning. Because if you're fucking somebody else's husband or wife, let's make it fair, both genders, I like to be neutral.
Or sharing.
Well, they don't see it as that. If a female, a lot of females out here in general, regardless of their color, some of them, the trifling ones, feel like if they're fucking somebody else's man, that they're winning. I weaned them away from you. Yeah. He's at home now. He's on. I must be so powerful that I'm fucking your man.
Yeah.
And then the guys, sometimes the trifling ones, of course, they feel like if they're fucking somebody's girl, that's a whole different thing. That you're dominating, you're penetrating somebody else's home, like somebody else's female.
To make you so.
So that's a whole different level of machismo, domination. Your girl is in missionary right now. That's a whole. That's I'm not even gonna open the can of worms.
You already did,
but kind of, that's another show. That's another show.
Right, that's a whole different.
That's a whole different show right there. But my thing is, that mask is different depending. You're putting color on character. You can't put color.
That, right.
Don't put color on character because, trust me, I've been with women of many different races, and the savage, it doesn't matter. Savage, Puerto Rican, white, they savage. Exactly. It's a character. It's a character. It's a trait. It's characteristic.
I don't think we ever tied into what we think causes depression. I don't think we really hit that nail. We kind of talked about some of the things that in our past caused us to go into depression. But what do you think is the sole reason why someone would be depressed?
Hey.
Do you think it's something that occurred, like something traumatic, past in their past, from a childhood experience, or just something occurred over time to cause a depression? That's the base.
Stress is a Depression is a manifestation of stress when it has gone beyond the level of your ability to cope with it.
Yeah.
That is the definition of depression. If it's beyond your level to be able to cope with it and control with it, like I said, let's be fair, we all deal with some level of stress. We all do, whether it be bills, whether it be whatever, marital issues, your personal insecurities, your personal whatever. We all deal with something. But once it manifests and it gets worse and it gets beyond your coping mechanisms and your things that you do to kind of, de-stress, decompress, that's when it becomes depression. Because now your behaviors become more centered around masking it, distracting. It gets harder. Now you're drinking twice a week rather than once every other day. You're drinking more. You're smoking more. If you have a sexual deviancy, you're fucking 20 more. You're fucking twice as much people now. Now you're doing more things. It's just a manifestation of the things you didn't deal with.
Okay, so something that occurs from a childhood that now goes into your adulthood is that's we're way past depression. Is that more going to something mental?
Yeah, it's over like it's like a seed and it grows.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you chop the roots out and you pull out the plant, you chop it out and you pour some the weed killer on it. It's always going to be there unless you deal with it. And a lot of people don't know how to deal with it. Number one, you grow up in a childhood where you feel like you have a dysfunctional family. You're Caribbean. Mm-hmm. You feel like might say nobody wants to talk about it. You're weak if you do talk about it, so you just live with it.
But then I'm just going to kind of cut in because I think that there are a lot of people that go through very traumatic situations as children, okay, and they kind of sweep it under the rug because, either they come from a family or a household where they don't believe talking about it or seeking counseling is of importance. They want to solve that issue a different way. I think those people are the ones that usually become functional with depressants.
Yeah.
Depressants. Because we tend to just, it's there, but it's not in the forefront. Yeah. It's kind of back there. It's swept away. It's bothered us. We want to get to the core of the problem, but we were taught that we're not supposed to go there and touch that issue. So we just live our regular life. But there are times where we kind of blank out from the world and go back to that situation that occurred and say, you know what, this is really bothering me. Okay, is this my time now where I need to discuss it? Or do I keep continuing to dust it under the rug? Because I come from a community where mental illness or depression is not spoken highly of. It's just like, okay, you'll be all right. You know what I'm saying? You're fine. Get over it. Go find a way to solve your issue or whatever the case may be. They don't believe that we're supposed to go and seek a counselor. We're not supposed to take medication for some of these illnesses that we have. They think that it's bullshit, Yeah.
Right.
To add on to what y'all said and take a little deeper, there's like levels to this, right? Mm-hmm. So kind of as King Aries was saying earlier, we all deal with things differently. A lot of us don't know our own stressors, right? Like my stressor tends to be social environments where I don't naturally get along with people, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Another person's stressor, could be work. Like everyone has different stressors. It could be dealing with their parents. It could be like talking in front of people. And so and you first kind of have to figure out what your stressor is. That being said, too, right? Like, we're all individuals. We all, like, I believe, and like, we all come on this planet with like unique gifts, our own selves, and kind of in growing up in our upbringing, people kind of shaming us for who we are. We learn to kind of like things that should make us like be like, this is who I am. This is what I'm unique for. We throw those underneath. We like hide those when we should be like, embracing that side of ourselves. So upbringing as well as like one's like genetics could like play into it in the long term. And so there's like research about like how parents should kind of be aware of their children's behaviors, because a lot of time parents, kind of like you said, they will pass on their own pains onto their child. And so
Right.
you gotta kind of be like, yo, did the child actually do something wrong, or did I just kind of have a rough day today and I'm
Right.
taking it out on them, like,
Which I think all parents kind of do that. I'm not gonna lie and say I haven't, like, took out my frustration from work on my kid. Like, they were asking me a question, and then like they kept asking me the question. It's like I kind of like dust you off the first time because I'm trying to unwind from my day, but then you keep constantly, keep asking me. It's not that I don't care. It's just at that moment my brain is trying to digress. I'm trying to dust all that off that I went through just now to be able to deal with you on the way that I'm supposed to deal with you as a parent. Like, you're not supposed to bring your personal problems to work, and you're not supposed to bring your work problems to home. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes I'm just like, oh my God, leave me alone. Stop talking to me right now. Like, let me, and then you feel bad. And then it has to be like, listen, I didn't mean to yell at you. I'm just, I had a rough day. I'm just trying to unwind, but you're just like, you're in a chitty chattery mood, and I'm not in a chitty chattery mood right now. I don't know. Have you ever had days like that?
Days like that when I feel like I kind of Samaya, okay, all right,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
all right, whatever. You give them what they want,
Yeah.
whatever. I mean, it's they talk about triggers. We didn't talk about triggers. It's like we repress. I know women. Trust me, I know a lot of women who repress. They didn't realize they repressed their mental, trauma, their traumatic experiences. Memories that come from important timelines in our life. We call that episodic memory. Of course. So that thing is embedded. So there's a way to regress that memory into such a repressed memory that it is only triggered in very little types of sprites, little things of snippets of, of that event. And I remember I was with a girl, and I remember we were joking around, and I got a little aggressive, and she was like, and I was just like, what's up with you? And she was just like, nothing, don't worry about it. And I'm like, no, talk to me, talk that, I remember something from my, from when I was a teenager, some guy, she was raped. And I was just like, that little gesture brought back a big memory of something, and it put her in a kind of sad mood. We talked about it, but it's almost like she reminded herself, like, wow, I didn't deal with this. Yeah. You know what I mean? I repressed it so much that this nice guy, who's obviously has no intention on, raping me, was just joking around, and it made me feel so sad all over again that I pushed myself away from this guy for that moment. Right. So, has that happened to you as a woman? Or as you as a guy, have you ever had to be told that, hey, you know what? I didn't deal with this.
Yeah. I mean, that's... For me, like I said, I'm an escapist, right? Like I actually went through years of like, I call it suppressed emotions, or you said episodic memories.
Episodic memories. So,
I feel like it's kind of related, and so like, I went through like years, like maybe almost a decade of like always being on like cloud nine, not necessarily always high, but like always happy. Very rarely was like, very rarely was like in a bad mood, and with my depression, it's like for that amount of time, it was like I was finally feeling all that hurt and pain from years. And so I just kind of went through and had to like think about a lot of like deep memories from childhood. Like if you were to ask me like how was my childhood growing up, I would have been like, oh, it was fun, right before my depression. Then afterwards, like I had like some resentment towards my parents, because just in the ways they kind of, I guess the ways they sort of treated me, or what's the word I'm looking for? Disciplined me, didn't really vibe well with me.
Abused.
Ooh.
Do you feel like you were abused?
I would call it abuse.
Yes.
I think a lot of parents, I think they verbally abuse their kids, and I don't think it's even purposely done.
Yeah.
We were just talking about like them having a rough day and taking it out, but kids remember everything. They are sponges. They soak up everything. They remember everything. So, that's why us as parents is important, that if we are having a bad day, that we not take it out on them, because we don't want our kids to be afraid of us or scared of us to even come to us and talk to us about anything, because these are why they go out and seek the help from the wrong people, and then they get persuaded by their peers to do things that are not what they're supposed to do, because they're like, well, when I talk to my mom, all she gonna do is yell at me. If I talk to my dad, all he's gonna do is yell at me. So I don't want to talk to them about anything. So that's like important, and that's how I feel like it affects our behavior growing up, and even as parents or adults, like things that we have gone through as children ourselves. I think we somehow grow up and sometimes use the same behaviors because we think it's normal. You know what I'm saying? And it's not normal. It's a bad habit. It's a bad cycle, and we need to break it. And I'm doing my best to break that cycle, because I come from a household where like people were loud. You know what I'm saying?
We're loud
and
and passionate.
Being loud and passionate about what we have to say. And it's like, it wasn't that they were always angry, but they only knew how to express themselves by yelling. Or talking loud, or we're having a conversation and you got to raise your voice because you want your point to be heard. You think that if you're speaking on the same level as me, I'm not going to listen to you. So you got to take your voice up 25 notches to try to talk on top of me. So then it causes like a back and forth. So, people probably thought my household, we were crazy, you know what I'm saying? But then, we had a good time when we laughed and we played, but I'm naturally a very loud person. I'm learning how to digress from being loud, and I sometimes catch myself, and sometimes I don't even notice. Like they're like, why are you yelling? I'm like, I'm not yelling. They're like, no, you're talking so strongly and so passionately, you don't even realize that this is what you're doing. Just bring it down a couple of notches. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I'm not purposely doing it. It's just that's what I'm used to. And then Northerners are loud people. I was just gonna say, they're naturally loud. You know what I'm saying? New Yorkers are loud people. West Indians are loud. Hispanics are loud. That's just how we're brought up. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So naturally, that's how we're gonna be. Our voice is gonna be projected. It's not on purpose. We're not trying to be, overly possessive or overly obnoxious. It's just that's part of who we are. You know what I'm saying?
Right. It's kind of like you it's the balance now, because you look at TV show dads, you see how passionate James Evans was, and he'd yell at his kids, and he would always be like, blah. If you only saw that, you would think he was a horrible dad. You'd think, man, what's wrong with this guy? Mm-hmm. But he takes the time after, and he cools off, and he explains to him, yo, I'm just frustrated. I want a better life for you. I'm frustrated. This is what it is. You didn't do your homework, and that frustrates me. Mm-hmm. This is why I beat you. This is why I disciplined you. Yeah. Right. Because, you know what I mean? It's getting that balance. That balance inside of our culture is, I know nowadays, if I ever yell at my daughter, for the few times I have, I've always explained to her why I yelled at her and why I disciplined her or why I took away certain things. The best TV show dad to me is Cliff Huxtable. To me, I don't care about Bill Cosby, the person, but the character Cliff Huxtable is very cerebral. He actually talks, and he affords to speak softly. How many times have you heard Cliff Huxtable yell?
Never. I don't think I've ever seen him yell.
The strongest man affords to speak softly. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's my thing. If I told you methodically, if I didn't yell it, when you yell and scream, it may come off as colorful, passionate, whatever. I don't think that way. I think in a way of the person is emotional. They sound emotional. They sound irrational. They sound, whatever. They sound childish. If a man walks up to me and says, "Sean, I'm gonna deal with you. I'm gonna kill you on the weekend at this time," and they said it just like this, "I'm gonna kill you, and this is how I'm gonna do it." You would take them so serious. I would take them more serious because it seems very calm and calculated. Yeah. So that's the way, and how that ties into the parenting and just what the things we throw into people. I think we can communicate very cerebrally, and I think we can not we can don't put ourselves in a position to kind of make somebody else feel bad or make somebody else feel a certain way or give them a traumatic experience. You yell at a child, it's nothing to us, right? But that we're lions yelling at rats. Yeah. So we don't see it as nothing, but that rat is just like, oh my God. It may be the most traumatic experience because from the other end, our children feel terrified.
Can I play devil's advocate?
Right.
I think that men get the shittiest end of the stick. When a woman is pissed off, angry, having a rough day. I know women. If you guys want to be upset, you're gonna be upset. I don't care. I'm gonna just call it as it is because I am guilty of this. I'm gonna be honest. Like
I'm gonna give it a victory.
I think that when so we had a rough day and you come home and the man is there, he gets the wrath of everything that we have dealt with. And I don't think women do it. I don't feel like it's something we consciously do. I just think because you're the first person there, you may say something that's irritable. Okay, like I'm already ticking like a time bomb, and then you come and ask me some stupid question. It's not even the question that you asked me. It's just the fact that you asked the question and it's dumb, to me at that moment in time. This. It's like, really, I told you that I'm having a bad day, and you want to ask me this that has absolutely nothing to do with what I'm going through right now that I don't want to deal with, and I'm going to blow up. I blow up, blow up and just be like, oh, F you, blah, 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 and it just turns bad.
Loud, New York.
Yeah, and I become very boisterous, and I may seem like a bitch, but I'm not purposely doing that. It's just like, I know that you didn't purposely try to agitate me, but I feel like you didn't have any type of, what's the word that I'm looking for?
Emotional intelligence?
Awareness, kind of like, when you see somebody and they look bothered, kind of like, yo, leave them alone. Yo, you don't know to leave me alone right now? Don't I look uncomfortable to you?
There's a word that I'm looking for. It's like at the tip of my tongue, but I can't get it out right now.
Right.
It'll come back to you.
Yes, whatever. I think you guys know what I'm trying to talk about. That's like if you're going through something. No empathy. Like, you don't have any empathy.
Oh, empathy. There you
know what I'm saying? Like, you know that I'm going through something and you want to talk about something completely absurd. Like, no, talk to me about what's going on with me. Talk to me about the issue. Get me to calm down. Get me to unwind. Help me get my mind off of the situation.
What you think about Black Jeopardy? See, that's one example, right? Of what they do.
Oh, well, yeah.
There you go. That's...
So, I mean, I think... Like, I'm gonna say I think that we do it, but we just don't do it consciously. It just happens because women are very emotional. So we're emotional women. We're emotional human beings, and this is how we were made. So we can take things in and we can soak it up for a while, but like sometimes it's not even the fact that you even asked me a question or it was the question that you asked. It's just the fact that you're not showing any type of empathy. Like, you just don't care. You're showing no care in the world about what I'm going through right now, and you're going to ask me something that has absolutely nothing to do with what I'm talking about or what I'm going through. It's going to piss me off, and I'm just going to blow up on you because now I'm like, you're playing with me right now. Like, you're really trying to piss me off on purpose.
Can I throw your curveball?
Even more. Go ahead.
Okay, man. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was going to say, as well as, like, make sure, I guess, women listen to their husbands coming home, too, at the end of a rough day. And I just want to go back to that point, like, people are still hitting their kids. Like we said, verbal abuse, but physical is still happening as well. We don't got to drag on this. It might be another conversation.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And we like talked on bullying as well. This is like for another show. I think there's like some, it's going to sound so horrible, but some good in like quote unquote bullying, depending on where it's coming from. And there's also some bad too, you feel me? That's another conversation.
Yeah, we probably could talk about that next week. That sounds pretty awesome to talk about.
Yeah. King Ayers, I know you had something to say, and I think after that we should
wrap it
start to wrap it up. You should.
I had something to add to that, the curveball. It's something like, it's like you're this positive girl, you're this positive woman, you know what I mean? You always have this positivity that's radiating off of you. At least the people who want to see it that way, because people hate on you, whatever.
Right.
People hate on people, whatever. My thing is, if you're so used to being so positive all the time, and you're so this, you have a big sense of humor, you always have this positivity radiating off of you. Sometimes people don't know when you're down. They just always expect. Yeah. They don't have the awareness, the empathy to understand that, you're not always that person all the time. So it's kind of like what I was touching on earlier. You know what I mean? People expect me to be this charismatic guy all the time. I'm like, no, I have my down points. Yeah. So they come to me with some, stuff. And I may see it as trash at the moment because I'm down, but that's an ordinary day. Mm-hmm. But we see that, so what do you say about a person who just sees you, is used to you one way? Do they deserve that explosion, the beige rage?
Well, if I told you that I'm having a rough day.
What if they didn't even know? They just like, hey, what's going on, blah, blah, blah. And you walk through the door and they're like.
And then I'm just like with this sourpuss face and like just no emotion whatsoever.
Yeah. Well, I know King Aries and I actually got in a little heated argument a while back. That was a situation, and I think
we all got into an argument.
Yeah, we did.
All of us have gotten into an
Yeah.
argument. We've all in every
yeah,
Oh my
yeah,
God.
we all have gotten into an argument. My thing
Yeah.
is,
just taking a step back and just
Step
kind of
back.
been like, yo,
we are different people.
yeah, my
We
bad.
all
yeah.
have different personalities, so I think we're just learning how to, deal with each other's personalities. I think after this last issue, I think that we'll be okay from here on out, because I think we kind of all got an understanding of each other.
Real friends, real people, partners, whatever. Real people fight.
Bullies. That's
Real. No, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
If real friends fight, because guess what? If you get over that, I feel like Neo when he got shot in the chest in the Matrix. When he died, he had to die to become the one. You have to fight with me to become my friend. That's when I truly know you're my friend. When you fight, we fight with each other, and we're still friends after that. We're cool. We get over that hump. You're my dog. Okay, we can get over fights. Cool. But if we're a person, there's been people that I've gotten into one fight and I've never seen them again. They weren't my friends, so I don't even. Yeah.
Well, I wanted to answer your question because I'm so used to being so, like you said, I'm used to being bubbly. So you said, how would somebody know that I'm going through something? Well, how do I show that emotion though?
Sometimes you gotta just say, you know what? Look, man. All right.
I don't like being vulnerable, and I don't like showing weakness. So that's the problem for me, and I think that's what it is. Like
you're teaching people you're teaching people with your personality and your temperament that you never have a downtime. You're always showing this strength or this vigor, this upbeat thing all the time. Sometimes people they're not used to you coming down, so they don't know how to deal with you. So you have to let them know, look, sit them down. I may not be in the best of moods after my job. I barely get sleep sometimes as it is. I'm very stressful. If I'm not charismatic with you or whatever, I don't mean to insult you.
Yeah.
I don't mean to come off as negative, but just handle me with care as I would handle you with care.
Yeah.
I like that.
I was and we probably all can relate to this. We're like personalities in our own ways. Where we all bring energy to the table, so then we tend to attract leeches. You know what I mean?
I don't know if that's another show though.
That's another show.
That's a whole other show.
So then it's
time to wrap up.
Time to wrap up. What do we take away from this? How do we become better about?
What did you take away from our segment today, and how do you move forward with this?
I would say know your stressors. Kind of as King Aries also said, make sense of it, figure it out, so you can address it, learn from the situation, and get better at it over time.
And I just learned something that I don't always have to be this strong, vibrant person. Even when I'm depressed or sad, it's okay to show emotion. It's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to allow someone to come into my space to help me get out of that little funk or that frame of mind.
Hopefully this does not come off as lengthy, but I will touch on the fact of her point is, if you go to the doctor and you tell them nothing's wrong, how are they going to help you? If you can't tell them that this hurts, something about you hurts.
Advocate real quick.
You get what I'm saying? If you can't tell the doctor or pray for, all right, God, I just make everything better. Well, humble yourself and be vulnerable enough to humble yourself to tell me specifically what your anguish is. You get what I'm saying? And be vulnerable with people to where, you know what I mean? Because what happens when you have to do surgery or you have to get something out of something? You have to depress it, soften it, then go in, pull it out, and then it hardens again.
Yeah.
As far as certain situations with surgery, whatever things. But I feel like recognizing your issue, being self-aware are the key things, because some people don't know they are depressed. They don't know why they're depressed. Understand it and don't be afraid to be vulnerable enough to seek help. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, and we've been talking about this ever since the Stoneman Douglas shooting. Yes, a person can tell the doctor what's the issue, but we as a whole, if we did a little better job of checking up on each other, yo, I haven't heard from what's his name in so long. Yo, you good, homie? Just a little check-in, and yeah, I'm good. I just been busy at work. Cool. Oh, I'm going through some stuff. Oh, let me know if you need anything. All right. You know what I mean? Just that little thing. If we just did it a little bit more.
Well, in the scheme of things, we need to stop looking at our society as something that if you like something, you're a dick rider. If you praise something, you're a dick rider. If you're this, you on somebody's nuts. Or they got more names for They have so much negative names and titles for positive stuff that we just need to remove that.
Yeah.
When a person doesn't like something, they're just simply a hater. That's it. Right. One thing. But if you like something, you're a mark, or you a bitch, or you're a nut rider, you're a follower, you're a nut rider. There's just too many connotations with positivity and negative connotations with positivity, and just the negativity gets a pass.
QB, final words.
Well, I think we had a phenomenal show today. I think we touched base on, a subject that is very, very, scarce in our community to talk about.
Yeah.
And I think we did a really good job, expressing ourselves. They got to know us a little bit more. We became very personal to our viewers and our followers. So that was a plus for me. They got to, we shed a little light on them about ourselves and some of our personal issues that we've dealt with through depression, mental illness, or all those.
Don't judge us.
Things.
Don't judge us. Don't go tell your neighbors. Don't go tell your neighbors.
And honestly, they do want to judge me. I don't really give a fuck.
I don't either. I can't too.
We're human.
We are here to diminish the stigma.
That's the name. That's how we came up with the name of our show. It's UnSweet Tea. We're gonna give it to you blood raw. We're gonna talk about things that people are scared to talk about.
Say it in patois.
And that's it. We're at top.
We gonna wrap it up before they kick us out of here.
Right.
It was great.
It was great. I had a really good. I feel this was really good.
I'm not leaving.
Yeah, let's not drag it out too much though, so they got wait for the next one. Signing off, Dr. P.
King Aries.
Queen B. We'll see you next week. Tune in because we're going to have some more juicy things to talk about.
Juicy. You said juicy?
Juicy.
Hey, there's some freaks out there. They going to see it.